Marty Maline, Maline. I'm the executive director of the Kentucky Horsemen's Benevolent and Protective Association, or the HBPA. We've been around since the 1940s. We're a trade organization that represents the owners and trainers in the state of Kentucky. We have a membership of approximately 6,000 owners and trainers. We also take care of the needs, the benevolence needs of their backside employees. And one thing I'd like to comment in relation to what several of the people have said here, we have a contingent of people who train and race at Belterra in the summer and Turfway in the wintertime. And there's hundreds of the grooms and hot walkers and the people who live on the backside. If all of a sudden Turfway ceases to be, they will become homeless during the wintertime, because their home in the wintertime is a tack room at Turfway Park. In the summertime, it's a tack room at Belterra. When they get their mail that comes to the backside in our office, it states so-and-so Turfway Park. And that's exactly the extent of the small people here who will suffer greatly. As someone mentioned, the horses can move. A lot of the horses can move. A lot of people choose to stay here in Kentucky, but those people, they're left with nothing to do. Because many of the people, as they've stated, they'll go out of business. We're talking about small people who they don't have the wherewithal to travel to other states. They don't have the stock to travel to other states. And finally, with HHR, we've had an opportunity for those horsemen, to make a living at this. It's terribly difficult. You all have been involved, as I have, for years and years, and it's a tough way to make feed a family and everything else. So that's why it's so imperative for us, on a lot of different levels, to maintain our HHR revenue. And anyone who's been to Turfway, you can see that Churchill had grand plans to rebuild the whole structure, and not just that, they were going to redo the whole barn area. We have leaking tack rooms, we have a lot of problems on the backside. All that was going to be remedied by the revenue that they were going to see from HHR. As soon as the Supreme Court ruling came out, they stopped all plans on construction. So right now, the horsemen are dealing with the most difficult of situations, that there's no facility. The backside's still there, but the facility is gone. So, they come to race their horses, and they have nowhere to get out of the elements, and it's really difficult. But horsemen, being the resilient people that they are, they're dealing with it. But it's not the best of situation, and as Tommy and many of the people mentioned, if this isn't resolved, they're exactly correct. I talked with Ellis Park's management just last week, and on no uncertain terms, they're gone. They will, because we fund some of their purses through Kentucky Downs. Well, Kentucky Downs will cease to be, and Turfway Park, there will be no Turfway Park. I think that it's a pretty good indication, when Churchill stopped all construction, that if this thing doesn't materialize and we get this thing resolved, Turfway will cease to be. These are not just idle threats by horsemen, these are real concerns, and it will happen.
Marty, you've been with the HBPA for a long, long time.
Yes.
So you've been around Kentucky racing decades.
Yes.
I want to go back. I think you said something very important when you said that Turfway Park in the wintertime and Belterra, formerly River Downs in Cincinnati, in the summertime. These are aspects that, we look at the bigger tracks and we look at the racing and the stakes and that kind of thing, but we don't necessarily see these other people in the wintertime, as you said, that are here in the summertime at a smaller track like Belterra. How difficult is it for you to get this message out to the entire state? Because the state sees the Derby, and the state sees Keeneland, and the Derby preps and summer racing at Ellis and Kentucky Downs. But what you just mentioned, how tough is it for you to get this message out to everybody to see that?
And Marty, if you could just step a little closer to the microphone.
Sure. Well, what we've done is we've talked to our individual horsemen, our directors. We've had Jenny working overtime to assist us in getting that word out. We've actually even sent a one-page document explaining what we're dealing with here. Jenny assisted us with getting that prepared. We've sent it to the horsemen in Arkansas at Oaklawn, to Fairgrounds, to Gulfstream, and a couple other places, because those horsemen are just as concerned as our horsemen here in Kentucky, because all of them, they're seeing the horizon of what's been going on in Kentucky racing and how it's starting to lift itself up. And so it's becoming very popular. But we've also contacted, we're an affiliate of the National HBPA, which represents about 40,000 horsemen nationwide. We put out as much information as we can to the Ohio HBPA, explaining to them that quite possibly, if this doesn't work, you're going to deal with the same problem, because the horsemen that no longer can be in business because of what's going on at Turfway will not be at Belterra any longer. And so it's a difficult situation to get the word out with COVID and everything else going on, but you do the best you can. Word of mouth with horsemen is your best communication vehicle to get the word out and talk to people and explain it to them.
Marty, how would you characterize the emotions of the horsemen with all this?
You know, it's not anger. They're so concerned that this has to be resolved. They don't understand. It's hard for people to understand that instead of casinos, as they mentioned, so many casinos or horse racing in so many states benefit from casinos. In Indiana is a perfect example. They have this large, beautiful casino. So here we had an opportunity. HHR is based on racing. It has a racing motif to it. So it was kind of like our vehicle to get finances and money rolling to our sport. And so it was very hard for them to understand what happened. We're not talking about gaming. We're talking about something that's close to racing, and it's worked well. And so I think that more than anything, it's just confusion, concern, obviously, about what happened here.
Are they scared about what's going to happen?
Yeah, there's no question, as Tommy intimated and the others, that they see this, and it's really tough when backside workers come to our office at Turfway, and they're wondering what happens to us. When all this happens, trainers can move their outfits, even though it would be difficult for some of them, or they just quit during the winter time or quit completely. But what happens to all those people? They see the homeless people with the signs that say homeless, give me $1 or $2. They don't want to be like that. They want to work. They work 7 days a week, and they've been doing this for God knows how long. 7 days a week, they get up in the freezing cold to take care of horses that they love to do. But it's their job, and not only that, it's their home. And that's, we have some people, even trainers. We have a trainer, Jerry the Russian, they call him. And he's kind of like the mayor of the backside. He funds little cookouts for these guys and everything else. His home is Turfway in the winter, Belterra in the summer. And that's all he's known for 20 years, 30 years.
Explain to me how the money goes to the purses.
Yes.
Explain how the purses trickle down to all the workers we've been talking about.
Well, all those workers obviously make salaries. Most trainers, and Tom could elaborate. Most trainers actually give them bonuses when the horses under their care or in their stable. When they win, they give a bonus also to those backside workers. So they get a salary. Plus, they have another thing that happens, for instance, at Turfway, where people ship in to run from other, like Skylight. When Tom or somebody ships up there to run, he may not bring his help because they've got to be here early in the morning, and that's night racing. So he may hire one of those guys who is working for someone else to run his horse and take care of his horse, so they make the added income when the people ship in. So their funding is all from what the horsemen make if they win some of that purse money.
Okay, and